Good evening, everybody. So we've had so many nuggets of knowledge and wisdom in the first half, and we too have 20 minutes to unpack exactly what it is to be an AI-first business. I have warned the panel that I am very good at interrupting and that I will use physical force if necessary, but they have consented. We want to start off by everybody's going to introduce themselves, their company, what they do exactly, and just how much AI is incorporated in their workflow. So I'm going to start. I'm a journalist, a broadcaster, and an author, and I worked in legacy media for 15 years, and 6 months ago I launched an independent media company where AI is absolutely part of our daily workflow because we do media analysis and media literacy. We're partnered with a UK organisation that is a news aggregate website that analyses sort of bias and what is covered, and at the same time we're also critiquing the coverage of how AI is being legislated, policed, embraced, resisted, as well as how journalists are reacting to the changes. So there's this enormous cross-section and some really exciting opportunities, but a lot of tension points as well. Amina.
Hi, I'm Amina Rosenberg, but everyone calls me ARMS, like the body part. I'm one of the founders and portfolio managers of Minotaur Capital. So Minotaur Capital offers a global equities fund that uses AI and large language models in every step of the fundamental investment process. And that's from idea generation, so finding stocks that are interesting, through to a quick view of those companies, to deeper research, and also now using agents for every single one of our stocks that ongoingly monitors our positions in our portfolio. Most fund managers, it might surprise you to know, are actually stuck in the world of sort of static Excel spreadsheets and static Word documents. We're trying to change that.
Excellent.
Hey, I'm Steve. I'm one of the co-founders of Lorikeet. Lorikeet is a platform that ambitious businesses use to build universal AI concierges for their customers, which does things like customer support, but a whole bunch more than that as well. We obviously sell an AI product. We use a ton of AI products to write the code behind our product, all the way through to analyzing sales calls or writing updates for our customers about implementation. So it's kind of AI the whole way through, and we had the benefit of kind of getting the company started in the last year and a half and just being AI first by default.
Jackie.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jackie Koh. I'm one of the co-founders, co-CEO of a company called Relevance AI, Australian founded, actually. We are one of the world's leading AI agents building platform, where we empower knowledge workers and domain experts of all kinds to essentially build and deploy AI agents for themselves. We want to allow people to be able to automate a lot of increasingly boring and repetitive work to essentially make work a lot more fun. And we've been fortunate enough to work with some of the largest companies in the world, like Databricks, Uber, Canva. Thank you for having me. Thank you once again. And other large companies like that.
Amazing. And Tom?
Tom Humphrey. I'm an investor with Blackbird Ventures, which is one of the larger, more active venture firms in Australia. We've invested in 170 companies to date, of which 70 are what we call AI core companies. We are on a journey as an investment firm as well on becoming AI and product enabled as a firm. We have 6 people on our team in a team called Product, Data and AI, which is 10% of our total team. And when I joined Blackbird 5 years ago, there was 0. So that kind of gives you a signal of the journey we're on in terms of becoming AI ourselves. We are less about the investment decisioning process as ARMS over there is. We're investing very early. I call it idea on napkin stage. There's not much AI can do at that stage, but we are much more on back office and firm-wide automation. So yeah.
Amina, I want to ask you to explain how you exactly classify what an AI-first business is and how that may differ, in your case, from a traditional hedge fund that just uses some AI tools in the process.
Yeah, we like to say we're human first but AI native, and we did launch within 12 months of ChatGPT, so we were very fortunate to start from a blank sheet of paper and think, how do we reinvent the whole fundamental investment journey using AI? And I'll give you a couple of key examples of that. So one of them is this quick view of a company. We used to go to a junior analyst and say, can you come up with a view of company XYZ? And they'd say, sure, and they'd go away for 2 months, come back 2 months later and say, company XYZ wasn't that interesting. And we'd go, great, thanks for that. Couldn't you tell us that earlier? And so we came up with what's called a quick view, which is basically this report, which is what the company does, what makes it interesting, if anything, what's the bull and the bear case, can it double in 3 years or 10x in 10 years, because that's our internal rate of return framework, and is this worth doing more work on now? And so we sort of forced them to come to a view quickly. That would still take them about 5 days to do. A senior analyst might take a day to do that, whereas now with the click of a button, we get Torient, which is our proprietary, internal use only AI software that's built over the top of large language models. It does that in a matter of minutes. So that's a workflow that we've completely reinvented. Another thing is an initiation report. So when a portfolio manager starts to do work on a company, they'll write like a 30 to 50 page document on that company with growth rates that are there for that point in time, so it's a static document, but they get kind of, stale very quickly, whereas now we get AI to dynamically go and update those documents. So, an example is we noticed that a company that we own has a internal company blog, and they put out an internal target on their growth rates, which differed from the growth rates that it's put out to the market. And so our AI agent was able to find that the growth rates that they think internally are way more optimistic than what the market has. And so we were able to adjust our forecasts accordingly.
And Tom, you're looking at hundreds of startups. I'm keen to know how many AI-first companies you're seeing, as opposed to those who add it as a shiny add-on.
Yeah, it's definitely a mixed bag. I would say, I think this idea of being AI first, my kind of definition of that is like when you are building your internally teams or workflows, you're thinking about AI first and then human second. It's very similar to we're having a conversation a decade ago about product-led growth, and in a similar way, when I think about product-led growth, it's like when you're building sales and marketing function, do you think product first and then human second to do the job? And Australia's done a really good job of building product-led growth companies like Atlassian and Canva and Xero in New Zealand as well, and I think that we can be a great country for building AI-first companies too. I polled our portfolio just 2 months ago, actually. We have 150 companies now in the portfolio, and I polled them around like what are the biggest challenges, what are the biggest success stories, and have realized that it's actually quite difficult to become an AI native organization. There are a lot of challenges they face. The people up here before were talking about AI slop in the code. Oftentimes there's conflicts between AI adoption and existing incentives of teams.
Yeah.
How do you find experimentation? Yeah.
We're going to have a quick whip around in a minute and talk about some of those experiences of fails or things that didn't land or perhaps they wouldn't do again. But Steve, what would you say one of the most common misconceptions is about an AI-first business? Or is it even in how it's framed? Does AI-first business frighten people that it's not human-centered?
I think probably the big misconception is the assumption that what AI first means is you take what some humans would have done and you do it with AI instead.
Yeah.
I think what AI first actually means is you use AI to give the humans superpowers and do a much better job than you could have done with AI. So, an example I mentioned before, like we have very complicated implementations with our customers because they're trusting us to speak to their customers in kind of high-risk environments. We give every one of our customers a really detailed weekly update on everything we've done with them and all the progress we've made, but that's actually generated by scanning over the linear tickets and the data in the system and the other information we have from our conversations with them in Slack and email. Now, in a world where we didn't have AI to do that, I don't think we'd have the time to give them that update. So the AI is kind of superpowers to do better work. It's not just replacing humans.
And Jackie, you talk about and you champion a 4-quadrant framework for AI adoption. And I came across that and I was like, ChatGPT, please explain to me the 4-quadrant AI framework. So it explains how you move from casually using AI for small tasks, and the 4 quadrants essentially build up to it entirely shaping the way you work. So, I mean, unless you can provide a better definition, which I suspect you can, but in addition to padding that out, for someone heading back to work tomorrow and they're ready to put AI to use, like what is the first move? Do you co-pilot or autopilot? Do you fix the tasks that you already do, or do you reach for an entirely new process?
God, I get to nerd out a little bit. I call it the 2x2 matrix. Essentially, when you kind of think of AI, this is a really good framework to kind of go off of. There's two types of AI agents. There's one, Copilot, and Autopilot. And that's the extent of how much the agent is kind of left to its own autonomy to do a task. Quite frankly, Autopilot takes a lot more time. Copilot, pretty quick. You can get started, honestly, with a lot of different platforms today. But then the other really, really interesting thing that we've just found after working with so many different companies is really start thinking about two different types of tasks that you want to give AI agents and AI to do. One is current tasks. So tasks that you're already currently spending, hundreds, if not thousands of hours on every year. But the other side of tasks that is actually really, really important is aspirational tasks. So that means tasks that you should be doing, that you would love to be doing, but you're currently just not doing because you don't have the time for it. So AI agents, when you're kind of thinking about deploying it, really think about it from a perspective of Copilot, Autopilot, current tasks, and aspirational tasks. And ultimately, the bread and butter, the most valuable ones are honestly, the Autopilot and aspirational tasks. And if you can get to that, you're in a good position.
What happens when you try something and it hasn't worked? You say, when you get to that, that's a good position. I want to talk about some of the missteps along the way, because we often hear about the success stories, which absolutely should be celebrated, but I think a lot of people would be keen to hear some of the other experiences. What's one thing you figured or you thought AI would knock over easily, Jackie, only to find that it was a total headache and it didn't deliver on the magic you had hoped?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, we started to work on AI agents quite early on, and one of the things that we, quite frankly, just got wrong on was how important expertise is, how important a domain expert is when it comes to deploying AI and AI agents. Quite frankly, a lot of these AI agents, especially when you're deploying it in a work setting, it's molded after the person who's building it. And you want that person to be the domain expert of your company, of the topic that you wanted to automate, because quite frankly, otherwise it's trained on millions or billions of Reddit data, et cetera. It's pretending to be experts, but not really. And so that's why it's really important to actually find the domain experts who are currently doing those tasks, who knows this expertise really well, to actually help guide the AI agents, to write the prompts, to even be the human in the loop, to give the quality check, and also ultimately give you, as the company, as the team, the confidence to actually put it into production and have it actually work on task in production.
So Steve, you're 2 years in with Lorikeet. What is something that you think, God, I blew money on that, or I would happily torch it and not do it again?
Yeah, I think probably actually our biggest fails have been putting too much effort into a not sufficiently ambitious use of AI. We use Lorikeet internally to do kind of research on performance of customers or trends or questions that we have about the code base or the functionality. And for a long time, we were kind of tweaking with what extra information can we add that is going to make this more accurate? Actually, the step change at our hackathon in September was someone just connected it to our entire Notion, our entire Linear, and our code base. And you just ask the question, and it goes and searches across all those sources and gives fantastic answers. And so actually, the thing that I was kicking myself was we were under ambitious. We were what little incremental things do we add to make this work better? Actually, the answer was to be more ambitious and just step change and say, what if we just give it everything? What will it be able to do? And I think a lot of the AI fails are of that shape. People are trying to really locally optimize something, and they'd actually be better off stepping back and saying, can we try and shoot for something much more ambitious?
That's interesting, because that's at odds with what we heard earlier with one of the keynotes, that it's okay to slow down and pivot. You're just ramp up and go fully in.
Yeah, this is revealing my age, but when I learned to drive and did a defensive driving course, before everyone had anti-lock brakes, they said, okay, if you've got to brake as hard as you can, you've got to find 9 out of 10, because 10 out of 10 is going to lock up the brakes and make you slide. So brake as hard as you can to find 10, and then ease back a little bit to 9, and that will get you to maximum stopping much faster than if you ease all the way up to 9. And it's the same thing with AI. I think you're much better off saying, what's the most ambitious thing I can think of? Be willing for it not to work, and then come back a little bit to the thing that will just work, versus saying, well, I know it can draft my email, and you do that for 2 years, and then you actually found out it could have been running your whole business.
Did you get your driver's license first round?
No, I reversed onto a footpath. The instructor said I was the best person she'd ever failed.
Okay, bit of context, good context to know. Tom, anything in your experience that you've gone, you know what, that was a dud. I wouldn't try that again.
In terms of AI?
I mean, it could be in life in general, but let's keep it to AI. In AI specific.
You mean we've been deploying a Blackbird, or
yes,
just
yes.
We've been, like I said before, like more around workflows. My pet AI project right now is a product we call Cortex, which is around building our database of our network at Blackbird, which is across the entire 60-person organization, quite large. And our key value proposition as an investor with a lot of the portfolio companies is like, let's open access to that network. And so we have built the product, and then it's like applying AI to enable first the team, but soon founders within the portfolio to be able to kind of go into that network and go, help find me customer introductions, investor introductions, talent introductions. And the value of the product is super rich, but the reality is, when we first implemented the product, we stumbled, and it was around the data quality, because data in, data out. So we've really been focusing on the data quality and enriching the data of the network first, and like understanding the people, and now that's starting to unlock.
And Amina, is there a common mistake you see in this space when people try and become AI first, or perhaps something you've learnt in your journey that you go, oh, hindsight is a wonderful thing?
Yeah, I think it's actually like more on that point of just like, you should always experiment. Like it's, I think, too many people try and go to like a large language model, enter something in, and then get the wrong answer, and then bury their head in the sand. Like an interesting thing for listed companies is there's a lot of information on listed companies that lives in presentations. But one thing that's not really very well known is large language models are really bad at interpreting presentations, just generally. And so like at Minotaur, one of the things that we do is we run everything through a separate vision model before we put things into ChatGPT or one of the large language models. But it's about experimenting to know that that's going to happen, as opposed to just like, getting a wrong answer and then thinking, oh, I can't be bothered like dealing with it anymore. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions about AI. Either
Jackie or Tom, whoever is keen to answer this, do you think in 5 years' time, like AI first business will mean anything? Like, I went to the University of Technology, Sydney, and I'm just like, University of Technology, I suspect all universities have technology. Something that seems like a distinctive point at the time, or a differentiator, is it going to be meaningless in 5 years' time?
I definitely think it will. I think there'll always be laggards and winners in AI, just as I was talking about how a decade ago we're talking about product-led growth, and today we still talk about product-led growth, distinct businesses. I would say the one thing which is quite interesting about AI is developing so rapidly, and so the goalposts for what I would define as an AI first or AI native company are continuously moving. There's major, like one big development I'd say is, right now we're talking about like you plug in OpenAI or Anthropic in the big generalized models. We're moving to a world where there's going to be much more smaller, specialized models fit for the task at use. We're moving to a world where it's more open source models, which are fine-tuned on company-specific data. And I think, with those developments, you're constantly a moving target in terms of what it means to be AI native. I think we will still be talking about this in 5 years from now.
Jackie, do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think what AI means will continue to evolve. I'm honestly crazy optimistic about the future. I think more people should be. I love this saying that I've heard recently, pessimists sound smart, optimists make money.
I love that. I'm going to steal that and pretend it's my own.
Yeah, but no, I think even 5 years from now, our definition of what AI, like high quality AI means will change, and that will continue to be very, very important.
Amazing. We have about a minute left. I haven't had to spear tackle anybody, so you're all keeping to time. Well done. We want to leave everybody with one piece of advice for someone who wants to build or transform their company to be AI first. Steve, we'll start with you. In addition to reversing onto footpaths, what else do you recommend?
You've got to increase your ambition and your output expectations first. Put the tools in people's hands and let them surprise you. If you give them tools first and you don't change what you expect them to output, there's not enough incentive to change. So raise the ambitions first, give people tools, let them surprise you.
Amazing. Amina?
I think just don't be scared. Like, everyone thinks that we're doing something revolutionary because we're using AI, but our underlying investment philosophy has been the same the entire journey through. So what we had 20 years ago to 10 years ago to now, we've always invested in companies that are mispriced because of long-term structural strategy change. The philosophy is the same. It's just the application of technology to the philosophy which is different. It's a bit like Excel in the 1990s. So you think about your workflows and what you're doing and how you can apply AI and large language models to the little things that you do.
Tom?
I love this concept of clean slate thinking, which is don't try to take AI and jam it into existing workflows and processes, but rather come with the framework of, if I was to start this process or workflow today without anything existing, how would I build it and design it? And that is, I think, the most important thing.
And we'll wrap up with you, Jackie.
It's the same what I said before, but because I worked on machine learning before Gen AI, but do stay crazy optimistic, because otherwise you're going to keep banging your head on it and you're going to get it to work, and eventually it will work.
A huge round of applause to our crazy optimistic panel.